All right, you know what? The video that I was going to make today, for maybe I still will, we'll see. But after this INFP detour, I'm like, I just feel like doing another short one. And this one is, I didn't know when I was going to be trying to share this exemplar of INFP, but this is... And I should mention that I do have every intention of explaining. If anyone asks, anyone wants me to explain why I'm so convinced that these performers are INFPs, I'm very happy to lay my case out, and I might just do it anyway. But anyhow, this little short one made me think of. Part of the reason I was so choked up about that Aurora song, Warrior, is because that's how I have thought of INFPs for a long time. Quietly fierce. That's what INFPs are. Quietly fierce. And I have a lot to say about that. But, yeah, it's part of what is life for INFPs, is having a very hard time with the world, and having the world be just very hard to deal with, really not matching the gold shimmering kingdoms inside you. That's a big part of what it is to be an INFP. But anyway, this is the theme around this. Here's the little hook I'll hang this little exemplar on. I was doing, and I love to do this armchair typing all the time. I just love to do it. Hopefully you guys have better things to do, but I just just love to do it, and I'm good. It's been verified by the people I've done it with and face-to-face live. So sometimes I like to take a stab at it, and it helps me, in looking at famous people and what I can find out about them, what I can read about what they've said and what they've done and what how they present, and see if I can make a good guess. And it sort of is an exercise that helps me kind of practice my skills, and explaining analytically what I've done. But in doing a lot of practice with that, with some MBTI nerdly friends, one in particular, it became apparent when we were looking at all these different musicians in the fall that a really good principle, I think, when you're looking at, I don't know what the kids are calling it today, but in my day, what you'd call the indie rock musicians, when you're looking at indie, so-called indie pop musicians, maybe, more specifically, indie rock, indie pop, electro pop, you're looking at musicians in that genre. What became apparent to me, doing all these exercises and working it out, figuring out, reverse engineering, why do I think they're that type, and gathering the evidence and constructing a case, it struck me that, probably a good tip if you feel like doing these foolish things yourself at home, you feel like trying to figure out people's types that you don't know, and that, it can never be real because you can't get them to confirm it, which is the only legit way to do it. But anyhow, when you're looking at musicians in the indie pop genre or any of the subgenres, I think a really efficient, i.e. effective, but also one that is liable to waste the least amount of time getting to the correct answer for typing people working in the field of singer-songwriters, musicians, is to just start with the premise that they're NFPs. They're one of the two. They're ENFPs or they're INFPs. And then make your first steps be to try to prove that they're not. Because so many of them are. Just so many. And again, I think there are a lot of good reasons for that I'd love to talk about sometime. But anyhow, here's one. This is a musician who has actually been gone from the world for quite a while now, and I heard about him by doing some armchair typing about a performer who's an ENFP, and she really recommended him. And as soon as I heard the tiniest clip of his music, I thought, oh, I would like that too. So I went to check it out, and loved a lot of the music right away. And when I looked at an interview clip of him, he ended up being the fastest armchair typing I've ever done, where I felt 100% confident that I had it right, and I did it in 17 seconds. So I'll tell you where I'm going to put in the description box below a link to a series of interviews with this guy. He was an indie rock musician in the 90s. He's exactly my age group. Who wasn't nearly as famous as I think he should have been, according to his talent. He was a terrific songwriter, and just, to my mind, indisputably an INFP. And so I'm going to link this series of interview clips that you can look at, and again, if you're curious, if you want to ask questions later or whatever, maybe you could refer to that, or whatever you want. I love talking to my audience, so. But I'll tell you where the 17 seconds was when I first saw these 17 seconds, and I was like, there's just no way that's guy's anything but an INFP. It was between the 11-minute 22-second mark and the 11-minute 40-second mark. Sorry, that's 18 minutes. Math, not my strong suit. And it was just the way he was talking and sitting and what he said, and his extreme discomfort being in the MTV studios with a very young Carson Daly. And just everything I was picking up from him objectively was just screaming at me, INFP. And then when Carson Daly asks him about his tattoo, and he talks about his tattoo, I was like, okay, that just cinches it, That's absolutely cinches it for me. Because here's just a little, throwaway little item about INFPs that, again, I'll discuss all this later in much more detail and with much more meaningful detail. But again, I've known for a long time a heck of a lot of INFP artists, and something that that I've found to be true with them is that their tattoos are always interesting. They're always kind of mind-blowing, I found. And again, I kind of run in, like one of the circles that I've run in a long time is, it's one where tattoos are, everybody has them. Everybody has them. It hasn't been a thing for a long time. It hasn't been anything special. But there aren't any people that I could be sort of sight unseen, drawn into a conversation about tattoos, without having seen any of the tattoos yet, except if I hear that the tattoo belongs to an INFP, in which case I won't be interested, because I have not been disappointed yet. What I found is that the tattoos on the INFPs I've met, and a couple of those INFPs are incredible artists, visual artists, and they are tattoo artists as part of that. Because, to be a good tattoo artist, you have to be able to draw really well. And, so this is just so much the case that I have, when I've looked at the tattoos of the INFPs I know, and then I've asked them about them and found out what the story is behind them or why they were chosen, just invariably there is some really amusing, unique, very meaningful, often funny, or just moving in some sort of way, reason or story or theme that is woven into that visual, that image that's on their bodies. And I find them often, they're so gorgeous and smart and interesting as for what they mean, that I almost had an INFP, one of my many INFP artist friends, just come on and do an episode with me, just to talk about her tattoos, which I would never do that. I would never propose that as a potentially interesting topic. But the thing is, hers were so, just so singular and incredible. One, for example, and just the idea of one, the next one that she'll get, she told me what the idea was for it, like what it would look like in terms of a line drawing, but then also told me what it meant. And knowing the family theme that it was, the meaning was associated with, again, translated right into symbolic form in the most perfect way, in a way that the FI Doms, when they're artists, they often have such a way of doing. It actually it choked me up, you know. That's a good tattoo. A tattoo that you haven't even seen it yet. It hasn't even been done yet, but just the description of what it's going to be and the story behind it makes you weep. Okay, I'm in mushy ENFP. All right. It's maybe it's not so hard as some other types get me to all choked up, but yeah, I think it's kind of special, that phenomenon. I think INFPs are pretty special. So, alrighty then, I'll put the link below and get ready for a whole lot more INFP stuff to come. Thanks for watching.